welcome, and you're watching your Multicultural Community Hour. Moving to a new country is an exciting adventure, but it also comes with its surprises and challenges. In today's episode, we'll be diving into the topic of what I wish I knew before coming to Canada. I'm your host, Gabriella, and I'm joined by Isa and Pietra, who have embarked on an incredible journey to Canada. Welcome, girls.
Thank you.
All right, so let's dive right in. First topic is Canadian weather and seasons. Weather in Canada can be quite different from Brazil. What is something you wish you knew about Canadian seasons before coming here?
I wish I knew that, people told me, they always told me that Canada was going to be a really cold place and that the weather was going to be, one day hot, maybe one day, cold. But I never really thought about it. When I came, I was 6 years old, so I couldn't really wrap my mind around the fact that it was going to be minus 30, minus 35. And so I really wish people had really told me and emphasized the fact that it was going to be really cold in Canada.
For me, it's the opposite. I think it's the hot temperature, because in Brazil we have hot temperatures, but it's not as hot as it is today. I know it marks a temperature, but it's completely different. When you're there living it, it's way hotter than it looks like it is. Yeah.
Canada is known for its cultural diversity. What cultural differences stood out to you?
For me was more the fact that here in Canada, people do include others more. And there were going to be a lot of people from different countries here in Canada. I knew that there were going to be a lot, but I didn't expect so much diversity. Mm-hmm. And so when I came and you go to something like the Forks or you go to the Assiniboine Park, you always see a bunch of different people that you didn't expect to see, especially in Brazil. But yeah, for me, that was probably a cultural shock for me, seeing so many different people from different backgrounds who spoke different languages. So I think that's for me.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
So yeah, for me, I think it was the way that I learned it, because it was at school. So they were people, refugees from other countries. They were telling their stories, the foods, the experiences. I think that was a big shock too, yeah.
Yeah, I think that it was a big shock to me too, because I didn't expect many people to be coming to Canada, but there's so many different people that come here, so many Brazilians too. Those are some fascinating insights there. The Canadian education system is renowned. What's one of the things you'd share with the students about studying here?
Well, I'd say that the education here in Canada is very different from the education in Brazil. Here, things that you might learn in grade 6, you probably already learned in grade 3. And it was very different to see that. I came here when I was really young. So when I came to Canada, I was going into grade 2. So for me, it wasn't so much of a difference. The only difference was, of course, speaking English. And here in Canada, you learn French and English. And in Brazil, it's mostly Portuguese and English and sometimes Spanish. And so here, I think the education here is very different from Brazil. So it's also, in a way, it can be easier for people who are used to it, for people who are older and studied other things in Brazil. I think if you come to Canada, some things might be already easy. It's going to be easier for you to adapt because you already learned about it. But I think here, it's very different from Brazil. So one of the things I'd say is just come prepared, knowing that you might learn something that you already learned before. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's the same for me, because I came here basically a year ago when I was in grade 6, and all of the things I learned, mostly about math, were the same that I learned in grade 2 in Brazil probably. And for me, one of the most shocking things was that they didn't have any homework or any tests, because since grade 3 I had. So it was a big shocking thing, but yeah.
When I moved, I thought it was so different because like you said, we didn't have any homework, and also I kind of skipped a grade too because they start school in September, and like not in February, and it was like so different. And I think that Brazilian schools are like just more competitive in general. Like Canadian schools aren't like as competitive, so I think that's.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think Canadian schools might be more competitive than Brazil, especially with the things of sports.
No, but like not sports, like in education.
Education-wise?
Education-wise, because I mean, if you think about it, in Brazil we use books a lot more.
We use books here too.
No, but like we use a lot more instead of like going like online and like researching things.
Oh, okay, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But like, it really depends on the school that you go to, because I know my school, especially this year, we have a bunch of textbooks and a bunch of books that we need to carry. I guess it just really depends on what school you go to and what their education is like. But maybe for your school it might be different
Yeah.
with less
True.
textbooks.
True.
It really also depends. If you go to private school or public school might not give you as many textbooks as private school. So that also depends on what kind of school you go to here.
Yeah.
True. Making friends in the country is essential. Any advice on building a social network or something?
I personally would say school is your biggest, is the biggest place that you would actually go to meet people and events. For me, I made most of my friends in school, and then from there, I also knew some of the people here. Like my parents had friends who had daughters and sons, so I kind of just became friends with them too. But I think the best way to make friends is just going to school and talking to different people and learning about their cultures too. I think that's very important.
What about you? What do you think?
So yeah, I think school is like the main one, because you can hear their stories, you can talk with them, you can study with them. I made all of my friends at school basically, but I have more facility talking with adults. So like the
Definitely.
teachers, they help me really like a lot to make friends and all of those stuff. Then like my mom's cousins and yeah.
I think that making friends at school is like probably the easiest thing to do, because I mean when you like you're partnered up with them and all that kind of stuff, but like you mostly see your friends like at school because like you guys see each other daily, right? So it's kind of like really easy like to keep like contact with one another, whatever we're doing, like, oh yeah, what are you doing next or stuff. So it's like where we mostly like make friends.
I'd also say, like, when you're at school, don't be scared to go up to someone and talk to them, because I know when I was little, I was always an outgoing kid, but I was like scared that I'd be bugging someone by going up to them a lot of times. So I had a lot of friends, and I'd always go to like a different person, just try not to bug everybody. But I think if you make a lot of friends, if you're friends with everybody and you're nice to everybody, and you learn about everybody and you respect everybody, then I think that's the biggest thing and the easiest way to make friends.
Because like I think that making friends with like Brazilians and like Canadians are like a little bit different.
Definitely.
Because like we like to hug in like Brazil and all that kind of stuff, and then after
the
Canadians,
physical touch.
Yeah. And like whenever I go back to Brazil, it's just like so different.
Because
like,
everybody's touching you, right?
like everyone's
and
like
then here
hugging
everybody
you
wants,
and stuff.
they're like,
and everyone's
space.
just like hi, like we're just like from far away. So that's like making friends in Canada and like in Brazil. It's like very different.
So also like doing sports or like those stuff over here, because they have some public ones. You don't even need to go to a private one. But like if you go, you can make friends that have like the same sport taste of you or the same hobbies, and that's easier also to have something in common.
Yeah. Find like common ground. Find like similar things that you like. If you like a certain sport, make friends with people who like that certain sport. If you like a certain subject, make friends with people who like the same things as you, but also make friends with people who do like different things than you, because you will end up liking them.
So Canada is vast and beautiful. Any tips for exploring the country?
I'd say visit every single part of Canada that you can. I've been to a lot of places, like on that side, like British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and like just explore Canada, because they have beautiful places here. Banff, Jasper, Calgary, those are like places that I really recommend going to. Also go camping a lot. They have really good camping spots here in Canada. just like explore. Ask other people who live here for a long time. Ask them what places they recommend to go to.
What do you think?
I think like, of course, like the main points like CN Tower and all of those stuff, but also like parks and like museums. I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
Not only the big ones, but yeah.
Canada is just like really pretty. It's crazy. There's like bears and like deer everywhere, and it's like
Yeah,
really,
animals,
and like bunnies
squirrels.
and like rabbits, squirrels. Yeah, like you wouldn't see those in Brazil. You wouldn't see like a bunny like
Just
or, like,
roaming around.
Yeah, or like
Like a
deer,
squirrel like right on your
or like a
side.
bear just like randomly coming out of nowhere. What you do see is a lot of birds though in Brazil.
You do.
Yeah.
And dogs.
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 Oh yeah.
Dogs.
Here they have the dog stuff very controlled. Like the dogs. Like I have a dog, and she's from a rescue. She's a rescue, right? And so here you don't see a lot of dogs on the streets, like homeless dogs. You don't see that many, and I think they have that really controlled here in Canada, which I think is good. Because I always feel bad. Like I went to Brazil last summer, and I saw how many dogs there were on the streets, just hungry and like needing a family. It's really sad. Here they have that controlled. Like they encourage you to, if you're not a breeder, they encourage you to get the surgery for them, like their surgery, right? So they don't have any more little babies. And they have that dog population under control.
Yeah. What do you think?
So yeah, we see lots of like different animals in Brazil, but really depending on the city. Because like if you live in a more rural city, you're going to see like more farm animals like horses, cows, or something like that. And then like if you live in a city or a big city, you're going to see like just dogs, birds, and cats, like the domestic ones.
I also find it like crazy how the trees are also like so different too, because like in Brazil like there would be like trees like with random fruit in it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like in Canada there's just like pine trees
Yeah.
and
Basically.
like maple trees too. That's like
Definitely.
definitely because like it's literally on the flag, the maple leaf.
Coloring the Canada map is torture. I had to do that for school. Like last week, we had a quiz on it too. You think that after you leave elementary, you get to stop coloring that map and you get to stop coloring Nunavut and their little islands, but no. I had to do that last week, and my hand was cramping. Like it hurt because
You know what's
Yeah, I did it last week too.
Yeah.
I did it too. You know what's the worst one? None of it. We have to like carry colored like the whole.
Because like it's separated on the middle, so it's like.
And it's like colored like the exact one. Like there's Northwest Territories, right? And you have to like make sure that you're not coloring in like the same color as like Nunavut.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
We had a quiz on that and like all the capital cities.
Yes.
At least here, there's like less to memorize than in Brazil.
Oh yeah.
So
that's true.
It's a little bit easier, and you kind of get the hang of it after a while with the Great Lakes and stuff. So.
well, understanding healthcare is crucial. Something you wish that you knew about Canadian healthcare system?
Well, here it's pretty much free, right? Insurance and stuff covers it. But, I mean, in Brazil, it's really expensive. To just get a checkup, it's really expensive. So
Yeah.
I think that, like, I mean, as a child, I didn't really know anything, like, about the healthcare system here. Like, that wasn't what I was concerned about. So I guess there's nothing really that I wanted to know or that I wish I knew about healthcare.
I wish I knew it was free. I would have gone earlier or something.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I mean, I guess it's just because I came here when I was younger. But what about you? Because you came here last year.
Yeah. So I think the doctors here, like, not they're bad, but like they always give you like in Brazil they give you like lots of exams, and over here they're way faster. They just like go and they say go to the pharmacy and buy this, and this.
I guess you're going to more of like a clinic.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you go to a walk-in clinic, yeah, they're gonna do that because it's just a quick checkup. But if you've
No,
ever
but
been to like the ER,
like a family doctor or something like that.
yeah,
like,
that's what they're supposed to do. But if you go to like the actual doctors, I remember I think it was like grade 5, and it was like in the middle of COVID too. I don't know, my stomach started hurting and stuff, so I went to, and it was like really badly hurting. So I went to the doctors, and they didn't go
Exactly.
quickly. They didn't go quickly. They just like gave me medicine and stuff like that, and they told me what happened. But I don't think so. I think you're talking about a walk-in clinic though, where they like check you up in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, not like that, but yeah, basically. And also about one thing that is pretty different is because like over here, you need prescription for anything that you want to buy.
That's
but
true.
like, yeah, but just like if you know what you need to buy because you used to do that in Brazil and it's like safe for you, you're not gonna use it, exaggerated it, and like over here you need a medical prescription like for everything. So
Well, that's
yeah.
good because it's like more controlled, right?
Yeah, but then they have the cannabis, so.
I think that like in Brazil things are like just generally more expensive, cause like here, well I mean here things are like really cheap compared to like Brazil. Like I mean if you go there something will be like 200 and.
Well, it depends because the
something
value of money
reais.
changes where you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like 200, like when you change the currency, for example, like 300 real, which is the currency in Brazil, you have to divide it by 3.6 or 3.4 or something like that.
Yeah, basically,
I usually divide it by 4
Yeah,
or 3.6.
But
Well,
like
it's not 4, but it's like 3.6. And so let's say if you get like money for your birthday and you get like, let's say $1,000, like 1,000 real, no? Not $1,000, but 1,000 real, then you have to divide it because
Yeah.
even if it seems expensive, it's technically not.
yeah, cause I mean if you think about it, like 100 reais is like only $25 if you divide by 4.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
it's like basically that's what I'm saying because it's expensive in Brazil. Because like when you want to buy like a shirt that's like 105 reais or something, or like 100 reais, whatever, and then after like
Yeah.
in Canada it'd be like $25, and that's like way cheaper.
But that's the thing. It seems like it's more expensive, but it's actually not. Like I went to Brazil and I was really wanting to buy this one stuffed animal, and it was like I don't know, like 800 real. But like I had to divide it, right? And or like something. I think it was way cheaper than that, but I had to divide it and like see if it's actually
expensive.
yeah.
If it compensates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like
uh-huh.
$15, like Canadian dollars, is like 60 Brazilian reais.
If you brought like Canadian dollars to like Brazil, things would seem like cheaper for you ish. Because I mean, if it's like you have to round it down. But like if you're going to like Canada with real, for example, you'd have to like have like 100 reais to buy a $25 item or something.
Well, things in Brazil are really expensive now, like really expensive, and in Canada too. The money's like going
Yeah.
up, and like with inflation and stuff, it's going up. But I think the value really changes. Like if you think about it, $1 here, you have to times that again by like 3.6. So it's like it's gonna be like.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. So you have to think, if you ever do go to Brazil, or if you come here, you have to think either times it by 3.6 or something.
Or divides it.
Or divide by 3.6. Because then you'll
Yeah.
actually get the value of it and
But
see if
like-
it's worth it.
But like also what I noticed in general is that dentists don't get paid as much as dentists here do. Because like I think they get paid less in Brazil.
It depends on what you work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends also
So,
where
like-
you work.
Yeah,
Because
true.
it depends on like, let's say.
It depends on
you're-
everything.
Yeah. If you're a surgeon, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, and then you're a, let's say a general surgeon, it really depends. Like you might get paid, orthopedic surgeon might get paid a certain amount of money, and then the general surgeon might get paid a different amount of money. It just depends on who you work for, what you do. It depends. Because also in Brazil, like you might get paid more to be a teacher in Brazil than you get paid here, or you might get paid here to be you might get paid more to be a teacher here than you might get paid in Brazil. Like it's really different. It depends where you're from.
It also depends on like how many languages you speak to when it comes to like jobs, and like
Sometimes.
and speaking of languages, like languages can be like a hurdle. How did you tackle your language challenges?
When I came, I knew the basics. I knew like hello, how are you, but I'm self-taught in English. I learned it by looking at other
Hearing
people
it?
speaking,
Yeah.
hearing other people speaking. And when I tell that to people, they're like, "What? You taught yourself English?" And you're like, "Yeah." I mean, it's kind of like when you're born. You're
You
not
don't-
born knowing. You kind of, as you
Learn
go,
how to-
you figure it out, right? So I think that for me, French is pretty easy because Portuguese is very
Portuguese.
close to
Yeah.
French. But with English, I just kind of had to hear other people talk and just kind of figure it out.
I think that like learning French, even if knowing Portuguese, it's still a little bit hard because you also know English. Sometimes you get like confused and stuff because like you want to think of French like in Portuguese, but like you're also thinking in English too, and you're trying to like learn a whole other language. And when people ask you, oh, how is it like knowing 2 languages? You're just like, I don't know how to explain that. You just kind of like,
You just kind of know.
you just kind of know, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, it was completely the opposite. So my schools, the 2 of them that I went to, they gave me a really good base. So like they were like, I always say like in Portuguese, like, can you pass me that? And then they would say it in English, so like glass or something like that. I don't know. And then like, can you give me that book or something like that? So that was a really good introduction when I was like little, 2, 3 years old, and started learning Portuguese and English. And then first I went to Common, where I did till the first one until like letter J. So it was a big part. Then I went to another site, like another classes like Cambly, where I had a teacher that she was British, but like she was living in South Africa, so it was pretty good, like her accent and the way she teach me. And then I went to a Brazilian teacher that she gave me classes. I was the first kid that she taught English, so it was pretty good. And then I came to here, so yeah.
Well, the way that I learned English was from my mom. She was the vice principal at a school called Maple Bear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and so basically like, I didn't really understand English that much when I was like at Maple Bear, but like my mom would try to speak English with me at home, and like Pietro said, I went to Canada, right, and then I started to like learn things. I knew how like hello and that kind of stuff, like how are you, but I didn't know much about it. And then after like I kind of just got the hang of it, like as the years went by, like learning it. And then after, some people think that I don't speak Portuguese because sometimes they say, oh, you speak Portuguese? That's so cool. Like they never even thought about it.
People think I speak Brazilian.
Oh yeah,
That's what
that's the
they
worst.
say.
That's the worst. It's
No,
like,
a
you
kid-
speak Spanish.
A kid last week,
That's what my friend said.
yeah, a kid last week, we were talking about where we're from, and I was like, oh, I'm from Brazil. And he's like, oh, so do you speak Brazilian? And then, like, it's like, okay.
It's a word
you-
conversation.
If you're not 100% sure what a person speaks, don't assume it.
Like we
people-
don't go up like saying, hey, do you speak Canadian? It's
Yeah,
like,
and like, it's a little disrespectful in a way. It's like
when
I
they-
get it that you don't know it, but you don't have to assume.
Like
Yeah.
when you don't know where like when you don't know someone's from, like, but you know, like by its face, you can kind of ask. That's what happened. A really cool guy in my school, he's a teacher. He said, you speak Spanish? Are you like from South America? And then I said, I'm from South America, but I'm from Brazil. And then he said, oh, so you speak Portuguese? So that's a good way. Like he asked me, but he was not rude.
Yeah, he wasn't rude about it.
yeah, like for example, one time my friend, I told her that I spoke Portuguese, and she didn't really know that it was like from Brazil that I spoke Portuguese, so she thought I was Portuguesean, and that was really funny to explain to her. I was like, oh, that's actually a language, and she thought that, and it was like, I mean, like if you get it wrong on the accident because like someone tells you or something, but like you also don't want to assume, just be like, oh, you speak Brazilian, because it's the same thing as someone saying, oh, do you speak Canadian? It's like, I mean, what do you mean, like French, English? Because there are two.
Also, what I hate is when people assume that you know Neymar. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
especially like people who are from São Paulo, right? Like I'm from Rio, and I'm like, oh, I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and then they're like, oh, so you know Neymar? Yes, he's actually my cousin.
That's
Like,
it's
no,
so,
I don't
it's
know
so
Neymar.
funny.
I don't know him personally. I know who he is. I don't know him personally. So I hate when people assume that you just know famous soccer players.
Oh yeah.
And I hate when they say, like, when you're from Brazil, they say, oh, I'm from Brazil. Oh, are you good at soccer? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
but the good is that I'm kind of actually am. So
no, that's
I can
what
say
mean.
yeah.
And then after, but you know what's the funny thing is that my friends, they know that I'm good at soccer, so whenever we're playing and I slip or something or I do something like, oh no, I accidentally like tripped or something, say, aren't you supposed to be good at soccer? Like,
Oh yeah, that's
We
the
have
worst.
a
Like when you
soccer
make a
unit
mistake.
in my school, and they're always like, "Go Neymar Jr., go Neymar Jr." Because I'm like the only Brazilian one around. Like, I'm kind of the only one from South America in like our grade, and like kind of like our grade. And so they're always like, "Go Neymar Jr., go Neymar Jr." And it's like it's annoying because it's like I'm personally not the best at soccer. Like, yeah, I can play it, but I'm not that good because I never really took lessons or anything. But I hate when they just assume you're good at it, or they like we don't assume that you're good at hockey. We
That's
don't
what
assume that
I
you're
said to my friend once.
Yeah.
That there was
I
this-
don't assume you're good at basketball, that you're gonna play at Toronto Raptors or something like that.
Exactly. We don't assume that you're good at lacrosse or curling, so don't assume that I'm good at soccer.
So it's so funny because like one boy at my school was like, "Oh, aren't you like Brazilian?" I was like, "Oh, are you good at soccer?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Are you good at hockey?" And then he was like, "No." And I was like, "Exactly." So there's your. And then after he was like, "Oh," and then after he
So
understood.
yeah, it's like the first time that I went to with my I have a Brazilian jersey that has my name and the year I was born on it, and then everyone first asked, "Did Neymar gave it to you?"
Oh my god.
And then I said, "Oh yeah, for sure, he's my neighbor." So my old school, everyone believed that he's my neighbor.
Oh my god.
And then on the new one, I just said the truth.
Yeah, my grandpa, he's from Portugal, and so I tell people that I'm also Portuguese, aside from Brazilian, and they're always like, "Oh, so who's better, Messi or Ronaldo?" Like, is that supposed it's not really a good question to ask.
There are lots of things that people say like, "Oh, do you like soccer? Oh, yeah, who's better?" Because like you're from Brazil, right? And then
Yeah.
after, for example, my middle name is Mendes. So like when I told people, they thought I was like related to Shawn Mendes, and I was like, "Oh yeah, totally. You know, like he's my uncle. I always visit him. You know, Shawn Mendes. Yeah, totally." But it's like it has nothing to do with it. I just like
Brazilians have also a really long name. So when people people tell them their names, and it's like 3 names. It's like a name, their middle name, and their last name. And then I tell them mine, and they're like, "How do you remember all that? Why do you have that many?" And it's so funny to see their reactions. And I had to do a presentation for school talking about me, and then I had to say my full name. And well, you didn't have to, but I did. And then people were just like, "Huh? Like that's your whole name?" And you also say it in Portuguese, right? So you kind of like you say it differently. And they're like, "Oh, wow, I never knew that."
Oh yeah, that's the worst part about my name, because like I love my name, but my name is a compost name, so I have 2 names inside my name, and then I have my last name. I don't have any middle names. And my name is Ana Luisa, and my last name is Romero Tibério. So when I say it, every time they put like Ana as my first name, Luisa as my middle name, and then
Yeah.
Romero Tibério as my last name. That's not right. I don't have any middle names.
That's the thing. You legally, like my whole name is really long, and so technically, legally, I don't have any middle names. But they're like, "Oh," they always ask like, "Oh, what's your middle name?" And I'm like, I technically don't have one. Like it's all my last name.
Yeah, most of the times when like your parents say your middle name is because they're mad at you. What happens to me is like my parents call me by my nickname, and that's what happens most of the times at Brazil. Like your parents call you by your nickname, and then when they're mad at you, or they say your full name, or they just say your name.
My parents don't do that because my name's pretty short, and so like I don't really have any nicknames that my parents call me specifically. So I can't really tell when they're mad.
Well, I can tell my mom's mad because like my name is Gabriella, but like Gabi is
Yeah.
like my nickname. So whenever she's like mad, she goes like Gabriella, you know, like she'll say like
Yeah, my
full
mom goes
name.
like Ana Luisa Romero Tibério, and then I say that I don't know what I did, but I know I'm in trouble.
Because like, and I have a middle name. Is it weird that I have a middle name? I mean, it's like Gabriela Mendes Garcia. That's like my.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
No way.
Yeah,
What's
actually,
your
yeah.
name?
Pietra Cerdeira de Souza Leão Veloso.
Oh, see, that's not a big name. I have a friend that have a way bigger name.
like Emma something.
Emma.
Like those like really common names.
Yeah,
Emma, Isabella, something.
I don't want to say his name. Oh my goodness, but his name is like so short. It's just like.
Yeah.
It's
Or it's like
so
they don't even
funny.
have a middle name.
Or
They're
sometimes it's
"I don't
just
have
like the name in junior, because they got it like from their dad or something. So they just say like, "What's your name?" "Oh, my name is Junior." And
My name is Junior.
Yeah, I met a
When
friend
they-
that his name was Junior.
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 That's funny.
What if he was a junior in high school? He's a junior. Sorry, a little joke there. Anyway, thank you girls for coming here today, and thank you to our listeners for watching. Stay tuned to watch more.